Bonjour, Kinamagin Ireland Indishnikas, and welcome to our latest installment of our Week at a Glance videos. This week, featuring week 32. We will begin today's session as normal in our Google Classroom page. This is accessible to students using their @sagchipschool.net email addresses on any device that supports Google Classroom. You can sit there with them and let them log in and kind of look at the events that are coming up. A lot of this information is also sent to you in these emails. We do have a newsletter. We'll show that in just a moment. That is being sent home today, which is Thursday, the 4th of April. A newsletter for Weemajiquad, the new school and Parks and Rec facility. And then some older information, including April's breakfast and lunch menu, still kind of handy. And going down to communication from Mount Pleasant. Some more communication from Mount Pleasant. So important documents there. I want to start out with our newsletter. We have some field trips coming up. Tomorrow, our class will be visiting the Chippewa Nature Center for the Food Chains and Webs program. And on Tuesday, we'll be returning to CNC for their Natural Resource Use by Michigan's Indigenous People workshop. The key part of this is please dress for weather, as CNC programs will be outdoors as much as possible. And I want to bounce back here to the weather for these upcoming days. Friday, partly sunny with a high near 46. We'll be looking at wind chills rising from around 30 to the mid 30s throughout the time that we're scheduled to be there. So I do recommend that you make sure your student has a hoodie, maybe a hat, maybe even gloves if they tend to have cold fingers. Please, no Crocs. If we're outside, we could be walking around and they'll end up with probably wet socks. Closed-toe shoes are the best, something comfortable. We shouldn't be in mud or anything, but if we are outside this time of year, it has rained a lot, could potentially be a little messy, so maybe not their best pair of J's either. Looking forward to Tuesday, however, mostly sunny with a high near 65. You'll want to probably dress them to be a little more comfortable outside. Probably won't need the hat and gloves if it's 65. Might need a hat just to keep the sun off their heads if they're outside. And on these kind of trips, hats are more than welcome to be worn when we're outside. Sunglasses are fine when we're outside. We want to make sure that kids are coming home and are comfortable and they're not coming home with a sunburn like I often do. Returning to our newsletter, just a mentioning of the Mount Pleasant documents. We are working on scheduling a trip to Shepherd as well. Just a reminder, students should read for 20 minutes each day. An important one here, parent-teacher conferences are scheduled for next week on Thursday and Friday. Those will be half days. Students will be picked up at noon. Students have also received their conference schedule forms, assuming they were here yesterday. I have a couple that were absent. They'll get theirs today. If that time doesn't work for you, please contact the school office. The focus is going to be on the remaining portion of 5th grade and their transitions to 6th grade. Students are welcome for these. If there's a spot where we need to talk adult to adult, we can always ask a student to step outside for a moment. But the majority of these conferences are about them, and it's best if they can participate and ask the questions they need to ask as well. I like to say it's more a student, teacher, parent conference, or student teacher conference, whatever you may. Looking at what we're learning over the next week. Next week, we are continuing on with measurement. We'll be looking at capacity and line plots. I know that seems like an odd combination, but I didn't write the book. I still recommend that students are practicing their math facts, including multiplication and division, For some of them, that would be beneficial to continue even into the summer months. Language arts are moving into new selections relating to people and places around the world. We'll be looking at Magellan's expedition, deep sea exploration. I believe the South Pole is involved next week. As a social studies kind of person, I enjoy these. Speaking of social studies, we're going to continue on the American Revolution and continuing to review our civics knowledge. In science, our second exploration will kind of expand on the first and discuss how particles from one metal could be the same that coat another. Just a reminder on electronics. As it gets to spring, sometimes students like to try to bend these rules or get away with it. Electronics should be off and turned in either to the front office, to me, or left in their locker. That's up to them which one they choose. However, I see them using their phone during school, maybe while stopping on their way to go to the bathroom, I will confiscate it. It'll go to the front office and we will call you to come pick it up. We do not send the phones to field trips. If there's a reason that you need to have the students accessible, I can bring it with me and hold on to it for them. But by and large, they won't need them for much, especially during the Chippewa Nature Center. You can see our language corner, which kind of is based off of some of the things that we're learning. Our source is the Ojibwe People's Dictionary from the University of Minnesota. It's a good resource if you ever want to check it out. Looking at our learning plan, and I've covered a lot of this, but you can see the field trip takes out a good chunk of Tuesday. The half days here. So it'll be kind of a disjointed week, but we still want to make sure we're getting all the learning that we can, as this quarter will fly by, especially the number of field trips that are coming up. You'll be seeing more about that in upcoming sessions. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out to me at mireland@sagchip.org or mireland@sagchipschool.net. Especially with parent-teacher conferences, if your time doesn't work, please call us. We will make it work. Regardless if that requires a phone conversation or even a Zoom. Obviously, we can do Zoom. Whatever is best for you and your student. Hope everyone has a great rest of their week and a great weekend. Thumb up.